Hello everyone, it's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. So again, let me make sure this is up and running. And come on. Let me make sure this is good. So I found this story fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. This is from Slate magazine. Secretary's rebuke. James Mattis tells the troops their president is failing them. Now, part of my fascination with this is Mattis. His nickname is Mad Dog. The guy's supposed to be somewhat of a maniac. And yet, Donald Trump is failing him. Why is Donald Trump failing him? On Fox News on Sunday, Secretary of State, and look, this is in two counts. One is Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, the oil guy. The other guy is Secretary of Defense, James Mattis. So let's start with Secretary of State. Why is Rex Tillerson cross with Donald Trump? On Fox News on Sunday, Secretary of State Rex Tillerson was asked about a UN committee's recent warning about racism in America, which criticized Trump's wavering attitude towards the neo-Nazi marchers in Charlottesville, Virginia. Tillerson replied, "I don't think anyone doubts the American values, including those touting equal treatment of people the world over. But when asked whether Trump shared those values, he replied, 'The president speaks for himself.'" Wow. Essentially, hey, is your president racist? Hey, he speaks for himself. I don't have anything to do with it. That's amazing. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that. At least from that standpoint, that's amazing. We are 8 months into the presidency. You've had how many people resign? And now the president, for the most part, is openly considered a racist. And look, I've said it early on, I thought he was. So this isn't shocking news for me. I don't know why it's a revelation for other people, but it's not news to me. It was clear, as clear it can be. I'm amazed that people have come to this realization, like, holy shit, I think he might be a racist. I mean, when he said those Mexicans were rapists and drug dealers, like, I didn't see a big deal with that statement. Okay. I saw a big deal with it. Around the same time, a recent video emerged of Secretary of Defense James Mattis telling a small group of American troops, "You're a great example of our country right now," he went on. "Our country, right now, it's got problems that we don't have in the military. You just hold the line until our country gets back to understanding and respecting each other and showing it." Mattis added, "The United States is two powers and facing the rest of the world, inspiration and intimidation. The power of inspiration. We'll get that power of inspiration back. We've got the power of intimidation, and that's you. If someone wants to screw with our families, our country, or our allies." That statement is amazing. That statement is amazing on so many levels. We've been murdering people around the world. Literally murdering people around the world. This guy was called Mad Dog. They called the guy Mad Dog because of him being somewhat sadistic. Donald Trump thought it was okay to make him Secretary of Defense or whatever. He won the election. He can make that choice. It rubs me immensely the wrong way for him to have the speech. The speech is true, by the way, to some degree. My issue with the speech is you're murdering people around the globe. I understand the president is giving that particular order, but you're sending troops out to kill people, one country after the next. You're a great example of our country right now. You understand that America is considered the #1 terror state. We are terrifying to anybody who's not American. That's not just with Trump. That was also with the prior administration and the prior administration before that. I think he has a great misunderstanding of how we're perceived around the globe, we've tackled one country after the next. If you want to talk about Iraq, if you want to talk about Afghanistan, if you want to talk about murdering people left and right on the borders of Pakistan, if you want to talk about this thing with Libya, hell, paying terrorists or putting terrorists in Syria. And when I'm saying putting, I'm saying giving resources to undermine the Syrian government. We've been in one country after the next. There was a report out the New York Times saying we're in like 66% of African countries with special forces. We're murdering people around the globe. The majority of the people we hit with those bombs are civilians. Put that in context. Like, honestly, put that in context. You're in a situation where you're constantly calling other people outside of yourself terrorists. At the same token, you're flying around, dropping bombs on people, murdering those people. Now, when you drop a bomb on somebody and you kill a civilian, somebody's mom, sister, cousin, brother, uncle, you don't think they're going to have some feelings about that. And you don't think that may create a certain atmosphere of hate against the United States. Now, from the United States standpoint, that's fucking awesome because we can essentially pay for more people to make more bombs and make more bullets. And we can use those bullets to kill more people, which will create more people who want to kill us. Continuing the cycle of spending $1 trillion on the military to hunt people down in caves. I'm sorry. This is not where the story was going to go. I'm blown away by the statement. You're the best of what we have. And look, what he's talking about is specific to race. He doesn't give a shit about people in general in that sense of whether those people get killed or not. He's talking about this thing of race. I'm okay with murdering people around the globe, but I am not a racist. And it bothers me greatly that Donald Trump is a racist. Are you shitting me? Come on, man. Come on. You can't be a murderer and then complain about somebody being a racist. That has to be a rule somewhere. That has to be written down somewhere. It's fascinating to me. That's just amazing to me. In his mind, and look, I get it. In his mind, he's thinking to himself, well, I'm being called to do certain things by my country. And because I'm being called to do certain things by my country, those things aren't wrong. So I can kill people and it'll be okay. But racism, I am completely against racism. Yeah, man, I'm amazed by that. If someone wants to screw with our families, our country, or our allies, does that include Saudi Arabia? Saudi Arabia beheads people. Saudi Arabia is murdering Yemenis with our help. Saudi Arabia is starving Yemenis. And if I'm not mistaken, there's a cholera epidemic eating through Yemen. Do you consider Yemen the poorest country in the world, if I'm not mistaken? You believe that they're quote-unquote screwing with our allies. And you believe it's perfectly okay to do that. Meaning, are the boys and girls that you're telling are the best of America that's helping to starve Yemens? Are they the best of America? How about the drone pilots who are dropping bombs on people, many of which are civilians? Are they also the best of America? I'm sorry, the statement is amazing to me. It's amazing to me. Yes, the statements were damning. Yes, the statements were embarrassing. But you also have to take in context who is actually making the statements. And we have this military fetish in this country where it's the military can do no wrong. They are murdering people. They're murdering people. I don't care if you're saying they were giving them an order. Look, this thing of nationality or this thing of nationalism, it's a gimmick. I'm sorry, you've been had. There are better ways to serve your nation than going around and killing somebody else. There is no threat to us. We have no threats. Now, yes, there may be people who may hate our guts, but those are because of things that we ourselves are doing outside of us. It's not the other way around. If there are people who are flying airplanes into our buildings, that's because of us. That's because of the things we were doing around the globe. We were antagonizing people around the globe. You're destroying one country after the next. Is that really the best of us? When we killed 1 million Iraqis, was that the best of us? I think there are people in this country who represent the best of us. Donald Trump being in that office. No, it's not the best of us, but government is rarely the best of what a country offers. It rarely is. Even in this case of giving inspiration or whatever else, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. Inspiration to who? That's America talking to itself. No one else around the globe believes that. That's absolutely American talking to itself. The power of inspiration. We'll get that back. Dude, you haven't had that for 50 or more years. And just to be clear, and look, I understand this point. I understand what he's trying to get at. He's trying to say, hey, these brave boys and girls, these brave men and women who will serve their country, they're the best of us. I'm trying to put into context what those brave men and women that you're having those brave men and women to do. That's what I'm trying to put into context. What are you having them do? What are they doing when they're in the military? And if you're using those people to kill, many of which are civilians, and you can make an argument most of which are civilians, and none of those people are credible threats to us, particularly on home soil, then you're just terrorists. Just terrorists. Just as a flat fact by our own definition. They're not the best of us, dude. I'm sorry. And no, Donald Trump is not the best of us either. This country is like every other country. We're crackpots. There's some of us who are good. There's some of us who are bad. There's some of us who are fucking awesome people. There's some of us who are horrible people. You get a mix of both. You get a mix of both. There are no greater number of exceptional people in the United States than there is anywhere else. That's not the case. Money does not make you exceptional. It doesn't. Having the capacity to murder somebody doesn't make you exceptional any more than a school bully was exceptional. I'm just... This is not where the story was going to go. I was going to more so just marvel over the whole thing of a defense secretary trashing the president. But we need to have this conversation about military and what that means in this country and what our military has been doing. That's the conversation I think we need to have. And if this guy, Mattis, want to bring this up, then yeah, let's have the conversation right now. So, I get what Mattis is trying to say. He hates racists. He doesn't like racists, and Donald Trump is racist. I get that. I don't like killers. I don't like killers. And I'd say being a killer trumps this whole thing of being a racist. I'll leave it at that. Alright guys, if you enjoy the content, feel free to share, write, subscribe, and of course, you can always support the work through Patreon. Thanks guys.